Hey, it's Steve Zonardo here with Remax West Zonardo Associates. Happy Monday morning. Just a real quick update on the market. Current inventory is 13,364 units, so up a few hundred units since last week. And the good thing is sales are up too, because last week we reported right after the rate increase hike, and we had, I think, 500 sales in 7 days all across the GTA and Toronto. And now we're back at 743, where we technically been the last 3 to 4 months that 800 mark, so properties are moving, which is good. Us on as a business in our current listings right now, we've had our showings just totally drop down. We had zero showings on maybe 3 or 4 of our listings, and it's on the market. Price wise, we look competitive. We're in a catch 22. Are we competitive, or do we need to adjust price? So today we're going to obviously reanalyze the market and start making calls to our clients. One of our properties, it's a smaller property located in Allison. We're going to adjust this price down, try to create a bidding war. We've seen a few bidding war strategies work again, so hopefully we can get at least more people through the property and potentially an offer my clients can look at it and accept, hopefully. So that's pretty much it. I posted something. It was a little bit infuriating on the weekend. It's just basically our current government wants to print more money in order to basically give it to people or give it to citizens that can't afford their daily lives, like for fuel, for food, just like the basic necessities of life. So basically, they're gonna cause more inflation by printing more money and then giving it to, let's say, our our neighbors that need more money or need money in order to live and just to have a normal life, which is kind of crazy. If you kind of look at it, what they're doing right now is, Trudeau's government was talking about a universal basic income early on, and this is basically it. And no one signed on for it, but it's happening. So this government is so crafty. It's incredible. So basically, this is the article from National Post, and it says one of the main contributors to the global post-COVID inflation spike is that governments spent the entirety of the pandemic utterly fire-hosing cash into their economies. And it's not just Canada that's guilty of this, it's the world, like all world economies. If it was the US, if it was Europe, they're all doing the same thing, strategy. And yet, even as the consequences manifest themselves on the grocery shelves and the gas pump, politicians are stubbornly responding with even spending more money. So this week, Prime Minister Trudeau announced another $4.5 billion spending package intended to help Canadians cope with higher prices that they've created they've created this inflation in the beginning, right? Like in March 2020, when I was doing these little reports, it was like, pull your cash out of the bank account, start putting it into an appreciating commodity, because your money's going to be worth a lot less than what it was the day before once they started printing money. And now it's like, so they've created all this inflation. Why? Because, hey, listen, when you're giving people mortgages at 1.5%, not even them, it's just a consequence of printing money, them buying bonds. The banks have more cash, more liquid cash to lend out, so they lower their rates. It's just they have more. They're dealing on volume, so that's why the price gets down, right? So it's they'll do more mortgages at a lower rate and still make their nut. It's like a Walmart effect, and that's basically what happened, what took place. But it's obviously the conditions that the government created and the Bank of Canada created for the bank in order to enable this through us as the guilty purchasers. Our line of credits were a lot lower, so people were using those to either buy sports cars, vacations, landscaping, or rental properties. There was this whole huge influx of use of this cheap money, and now, at some point, it's not can't keep going at that rate, and I don't know why people were thinking that you can just keep going at this rate. They're going to crash it at some point, which they did now, and they're continuing to crash it. And what they're doing now is basically, this is universal basic income. So now if you can't afford, groceries and fuel, they're going to probably have some sort of like a COVID check that went out during COVID, and it's basically helping our Canadian citizens that are in dire straits, where their fixed income is not going to be able to cover their daily lives, and give them the daily necessities like food and shelter. So, yeah, quite crafty way of doing things for sure, because this is something they wanted to put into effect was this universal basic income. So this is basically it in a nutshell. There's one more part of this article which I thought it was good to read out. It was pretty much, it sums up what happened. Oh, here it is. The inflation at its core is a problem of too much money chasing too few goods. when people have a lot of cash and not a lot of places to spend it, they start bidding up prices of whatever's left. Does this sound pretty familiar to the housing market that we just went through? This is probably one of the best articles. I'm probably going to save this. Yeah, that's beautiful. But that's pretty much it. And yeah, so we're going to keep it going. We don't see any more adjustments coming up further, obviously. The Federal Bank, the Federal Reserve's meeting this week, September 20th and the 21st, to see what they're doing with their banking rate. So I think they're supposedly going to go up 0.75%. They may go up a full point. We don't know. How does that affect us? I don't know. I know this has got some effect on the U.S. dollar and the Canadian currency with the the cost of buying American dollars. I think this is actually going to give us probably less buying power. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep you posted with that. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, always reach out, 647-962-4372. Thank you.